Well, the S&P 500 recently closed over the 2,000 mark, and earlier this week, a stock market strategist from Morgan Stanley said that the S&P 500 could hit 3,000 by the year 2020. And weighing in, Dennis Fagan from Fagan Associates. And always good to have you with us. Thank you for being with us, Dennis. Yeah. We were talking before you came on officially here to talk to everybody else that this has been a slow progression for the S&P, and yet now there's talk of like this fast moving ahead.
Well, the S&P was 1,000 in 1998, and now it's doubled over a 16-year period, which is an average annual return of about 4.5%, which is about half the historical norm. To get from 2,000 to 3,000 over the next 6 years, it's going to take about a 6 or 7% return because it's only a 50% move. So, although it seems like a big move, if you annualize it out, it's still not on par with the normal moves in the market.
You know, we hear about these big round numbers, 2,000, the S&P 500, but what does that mean? I mean, is it meaningful at all?
It is. The lower the big round number, meaning the 2,000 means a lot more than Dow 17,000, because from 17 to 18,000 is only a 6% move, but from S&P 2,000 to 3,000 will be a 50% move. What usually happens, so I think it is important, what usually will happen is that that number 2,000 will act as a ceiling for the market for quite some time, even as it moves around that number, and then it'll move around that number for a period of months, and then it'll move higher and act as a floor. So I think it is an important number, and I think the S&P 500 will probably gravitate around the 2,000 mark for a few months. And
you talked about, or we mentioned this idea of going up another 1,000 points in a relatively short period of time. How possible is it? What are the catalysts for that happening?
A better economy, a handing off of really the economy from the federal government and the Federal Reserve to the private sector. A lot more jobs being created. We'll see some numbers tomorrow that for the first time since the mid-90s, we've created 200,000 jobs for 7 or 8 consecutive months. So it's more of the private sector picking up the pace a little bit and creating a good labor market.
All right, we'll see where it takes us. I know you'll be along to explain it to us, which we will appreciate very much. Dennis.